Hi, everybody. My name is Tim Guy. I'm here to talk a little bit about the first chapter that we read and the video we watched and the other article that we read about action research. So first off, just to get to know me a little bit better, again, my name is Tim Guy. I am a middle school math teacher in the Spring Grove Area School District. Those of you are not familiar where that is, it's in York County. I am married. I have two children. Those are my two kids right there. Claire is a 2-year-old, and Charlotte is 5 months old. So got a lot of stuff going on during this semester here while we're taking this course. Some of my interests and things that I'm really interested in, I really like board games. I play a lot of board games with my friends. My favorite board game right now is one called Terraforming Mars, if anybody knows that one. A lot of modern stuff. I really like the newer stuff that is not as boring as some of the old board games like Monopoly and stuff. Some other games, I also play a lot of video games and some other stuff, and obviously hanging out with my family and my kids. Currently, I am in the STEM Master's program, and I only have one more course to take after this, so I'm almost done and getting my Master's here. So really excited about that. So the first question that was asked of us was after reading the first chapter in the article was, what are some of the most difficult stages that we could see through the action research? And I actually identified two. I kind of cheated a little bit because I couldn't decide between the two. And really, it was step 1 and step 4, the identifying the focus and developing an action plan. And some of the reasons why I think those might be the most difficult kind of actually line up with each other. With the identifying area of focus, it's really like how specific should that question be? I feel like some of the issues I can think about with my classroom and some of the things I have with kids become these like giant problems I don't know how to actually do research on. So like, for example, I'm always thinking about how to get more engagement out of my pre-algebra students, who are some of my lower students I have in my class. And that's a really big question. I don't know how to actually do action research for that. How do I get more engagement? That seems really kind of complicated. So there's a lot of kind of thinking going on with that first step on how do I even come up with a question that's reasonable and something I can look into. And then that kind of ties a little bit into why developing an action plan can be hard, is really how creative and how much of a change up do I really want to be when I get to that develop an action plan? You know, after I take data and say, all right, this is a problem, or this is something that works, or how do I change up what's going on here? It really could be it could be really be difficult to kind of think of, all right, what are some good things that can go on here? And I think some of that could be answered by the collaboration that can go on with action research that they talked about a lot. That's really important. So that's definitely something I have to kind of look into or think about as I engage in this during this semester here. So then after that, the next question we were asked was action research as a part of daily teaching. So I'm going to kind of move my video here. It's kind of being weird. Action research as a part of daily teaching. What are some issues that we might see arise from that? And I, first off, just said it seems kind of difficult to do as a part of your daily teaching. And it's probably some of the same things that everybody else is going to post on here about why would this be hard. First off, time. We have so much stuff going on. You know, I have 2 kids at home that I want to get home to, not to mention just all the extra stuff. I mean, we just had the beginning of the school year, and there's so much stuff they throw at you at the beginning of the year, all the clubs that you're involved in, everything. It just seems like it's a lot of time to try to implement this on a daily basis with your kids. Another thing is that the effort involved, you know, there's a lot of pre-planning that's involved with this. And again, that takes up time, but it's just a lot of, you know, it's easy to fall into the trap of, well, if it's not broke, why am I trying to fix it? You know what I mean? And that's definitely something to think about when we're, you know, doing this action research. It's like, well, my kids are already doing pretty fine. Like, why do I want to put all this effort in to change something up to maybe make them a little bit better? And so that's kind of a trap I think you can fall into that makes it a little bit difficult to get motivated to do some of this stuff. And then something at the bottom here, this is a little bit kind of off, but the being singled out part. So I know that whenever a teacher does something kind of completely different than what other people are doing, there can be sometimes in the building where other teachers are like, why are they doing that? We currently have iPads, and we have some teachers who have flipped their classrooms, and there definitely is a few teachers who are not as excited about what they're doing as some other teachers are, and it can be a little daunting to kind of feel like you might get singled out for that. So it definitely can be a little bit of a, well, am I willing to make this leap and be brave enough to change up what I'm doing if I'm seeing this as an issue? So that's another thing I think that could be a problem or something that makes it harder to do some of this in your daily teaching. The next question that we want to answer was the action research and what are some things we could think about in our room, as well as what story did we really connect with when we were reading the article that was shared with us. And I really connected with, I think it was the first story that was there, Rebecca Wisniewski. I apologize if I got that name wrong. She was working with the students who were, I'm assuming, I got Cambodian refugees out of that from the Cambodian genocide. I'm assuming that's where they're from, because they're from the Khmer. But she had a large group of them in her classroom, and it was all about, okay, what are some things that I can do to better improve the learning outcomes for these students? And they kind of went through and they met as a group, and it seemed like it was a really big process. And she even talked about how they all kind of disagreed on what are some things that they could do, and eventually they just kind of split off and tried a bunch of different stuff to see which ones would help with their students. And what I really connected with was that the way that she went about it and the way that ended up working out is that the one that she picked, which was making a newspaper with the kids, she really was able to build a connection not only with her students, it really helped them learn some more English and really become connected with her, but it also built a bridge to the parents and to the community in general. She said by the end, the parents were looking forward to these newspapers, and it became a really big deal for them to go home and see them with the parents. And I think that that's something that's really cool and something that I would love to have in my room, is a better connection with some parents and improving some of that relationship, because there's not a lot that I do that really connects with the parents, that involves the content in my room. And I think that's something that was really cool that came out of that actual research that she did, that honestly, if she hadn't engaged in this process, I don't know if that ever would have happened with her students. Some of the concerns that I would have implementing action research, besides the why it might be difficult, really it's all about, am I going to ruin my students? There's a lot of pressure testing-wise to make sure that your students do well. But even beyond that, I just want my students to leave my room being better math students than they were when they started. So there's a lot of pressure on me to ethically make sure that they're getting the best education possible. And if I decide to try this crazy experiment on them and I'm like, you know what, I don't like how I'm doing this, I'm going to try doing whatever, and then it doesn't work, I would feel a little anxious about that with my students, and I would want to make sure that happened. And then also, just in general, will my students buy in? So if I get data and I decide, hey, I'm going to implement this into my classroom, let's say it's doing flipped activities, or let's say it's whatever, are my students actually going to buy fully into that? And if they don't, I might not get accurate data back from them afterwards to see how they're doing or how it's working. So I think it's something that I'm a little worried about implementing in my room, making sure 8th graders can be a little temperamental, so making sure that it's something that they buy into and I get good data and it works. So that's, I think, all the questions I'd answer. Yeah, I think I'm at the end of my slideshow. So thank you guys for listening, and I'm looking forward to looking at some of your presentations.